colonization still permeates everything from how we do our hair to picking regular names for our children. As we move deeper into the 21st century, we have reclaimed parts of ourselves that colonialism has tried to erase. For thousands of years, white colonizers spread across the globe like a plague of locusts, absorbing, destroying, and changing everything in their path. They tried to take everything from us, but we've been pushing back by reclaiming our names. Kemet was a true civilization before any other recorded nations on Earth. The word Kemet means black land or the land of blacks. When ancient Greeks discovered the land in 525 BCE, they changed the nation's name to Egypt. Egypt may have kept its colonized name, but many other African nations have not. Zambia, Zimbabwe, Guinea-Bissau, and several additional countries chose to change or reclaim their names after declaring independence from their colonizers. It isn't just cities and countries reclaiming their names either. For so long, our beautiful names for our children were ridiculed. Names that originated from our spiritual roots and native lands were deemed somehow unworthy. By reclaiming our names and giving ourselves names anew, we are rejecting the norms colonialism has forced upon us, and more importantly, defining who we are on our terms. We all know schools aren't teaching Black history correctly. That's why Push Black is so important. Will you support truthful, accurate, empowering Black history content with a donation? Click the link in our bio to donate now.
I'm just talking. So Nemesis, I agree with you. The Push Black channel does a lot of good work. I'm learning more about them, and you all make sure you support them. The link to that video is in the description to support them and the fundraiser that they have going on. You can support Push Black. There's an easy donate button up there. So shout out to Push Black and everything that they have going on over there. But you know, colonizers came and they took names, they renamed things. It was important for them to rename African people, African lands, animals, all these things here. Everything is in the image of whiteness, within that white gaze. And so that shows the dominance of white supremacy. But once again, it's about us rising up and becoming powerful people. And a part of that is us to define ourselves for ourselves, define our own path, our own destinies, use our own names. What does your name mean to you and your people and your lineage and your history? Is your name connected to your people, your history, your lineage? Right? Are you just named after something, you know, just because you have to have a name, you know, like you are a piece of property? And I think that's a part of the history. Of course, we know that's a part of our history, but I've always wondered why Black people named ourselves some of the names that we've named ourselves, and it's just always been puzzling to me, especially growing up with the concept of names have meanings, and then growing up with African friends, and all of my African friends, when you ask them what their name means something significant. Like 99% of the time. It's rare I've met an African person and their name meant something frivolous, but you know, so that always had an impression on me. So I've always had the thought in mind, like when I have children, that my children's names are going to be things that matter to me, my family, them, our history, our lineage, our culture, our past, you know, as Black people here, not just in America, but Black people in the world. Here to Slay. What's going on? How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for being up in here. Nemesis says the issue with the whole name question is that it's just another form of you can take the ninja out of the hood. Now we're getting to that. See, you always ahead of the script. You always ahead of the script. But now I appreciate that. We're getting to that because the character of the person matters. Because you can have the greatest name in the world, but if you have the worst behavior in the world, the worst character in the world, do none of that mean nothing, right? So shout out to Nemesis X on that, right? How you doing, Renee? How you doing? How you doing, family? How you doing, everybody up in the building? What's going on? Thank you for being here. Thank y'all for being here, checking this out. So, reclaiming ourselves, reclaiming our blackness, reclaiming our Africanness, or as some people would say, or reclaiming just our Black Americanness. However you want to go with it, whether you FBA, non-FBA, panel, whatever. You know, we don't get into that, but however you want to define yourself, like, that's important. In my opinion, that's important for us to have that power, to have that autonomy, to have that freedom, right? You're not going to tell me what I should call myself, but they do that for a reason. It's a reason that they rename things. It's a reason that they went through the methods that they went through to change names and to change the psychology of people as they're changing their names. Because once again, if I can control what you are called, I can control a lot of things. I pretty much own you. I pretty much own your destiny. You know, I can rename you. I can rename your lands. I can rename your people. I can rename everything about you and your history and your existence. It's now under my jurisdiction now. That's a power dynamic. That's a power dynamic. So being able to go into, let's say you go into a kingdom. These people have existed here for thousands of years. These people have called themselves this particular name for thousands of years. All of a sudden, this new group of people come in. This invasive species come in, invading, conquering, and then names are changed. You go from being A to Z. And in that, how much of your history and your culture and yourselves have you forgot? Renee says, I think the last name that we continue to carry is something to think about. Now, you're right. You're right. It is. My last name is Ward. I looked up what a ward is. It's a ward of a state, but I also know that the ward name has Gullah Geechee origins as well. And so that's interesting too, because once again, being connected to history and culture and things. So my dad has always talked about us having family and roots in South Carolina. And so I was watching the Country Style YouTube channel one day, and shout out to Art Fennell and everybody over the Country Style 2 Country channel over there, Trissolating. Shout out to everybody over there. And they were in, that they are in South Carolina. They're in Blenheim, South Carolina. And so they went over to visit one of the friends of the show. And of course, it's Geechee land. And I saw they had a big billboard of Geechee names that resonate or are synonymous with the Geechee people and the Geechee culture. And the name Ward was up there. So that made me want to explore the last name Ward and its origins for Black people in America a lot more. You know what I'm saying? So, and my mom has always told me that we were Geechee. Because I'm a big rice eater. She's like, you must like rice, because I think her dad was her dad's Geechee, so she would be Geechee, so it would be in me too as well. So we got them South Carolina roots. So I know for my people, roots are in Central to South Florida, South Carolina, and Oklahoma, as far as I know. So Central and South Florida, South Carolina, and Oklahoma. He says, when the Romans changed names, it was due to attempting to obliterate culture. Right. When the British did it, it was to create cultural uniformity. Nah, that's what's up. That gets a star. That gets a star. So Renee, you were saying your family's Gullah Geechee as well. Amina, what's going on? How you doing, Amina? We ain't seen you in a minute. How you been? No, how was your holiday? Matter of fact, how was your holiday? Because I know last week was holiday week. So how was your holiday? Hope you good. I hope your family good. Welcome back. Welcome back. It says, Nemesis says, one British Empire based upon the principle of the sun never sets on the British Empire because the goal was to have the empire. Bam. That's another star. Now, so that's the importance of renaming what you conquer. And it's also why it's important to, when you regain power, to rename yourself and to re-empower yourself and your people. So, oh, no problem. I'm glad everything went well. You know, I want to make sure everybody had a great time, was safe and everything. And you know, last week was a week for a family to come together and to talk about stuff like this, family names and family history and family culture. And so for me, like I was in a conversation earlier and they asked us about the holidays. And for me, holidays are great for me because the men get a chance to get together and we get a chance to learn more history. And I get a chance to learn more about the wards and what goes into the ward name as far as from my family's point of view, my family's lineage. But once again, ward is a name given by the colonizers, by the slave masters. It is not a traditional Black or traditional African name. It is a European name. So do want to get back. Now, I will say this. Some people are into changing their names to African names. I don't care whether you do it or you don't do it. So fortunately, I don't have to change my name. And let me explain. So my godfather is Ghanaian. So my brother and I went, the day we were born, we were given 4 names. A first name, a middle name, a last name, and a nickname. So my nickname is Kwame, 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 and it's Ghanaian for boy born on Saturday, right? So Joseph is my formal family name because I was named after uncles on both sides. I have my name and my hairline from uncles on both sides. And then Kwame comes from my godfather who's Ghanaian. And so from birth, I was Joseph Kwame Ward. So if you, okay, Renee, you Cherokee, that's what's up. Business. Oh, you from Bennettsville? Look, I was in, I had a chance to go through Bennettsville. Okay, you from the country. That's what's up. You from the country. It's cool. It's real cool out there. We were in Bennettsville, Blenheim, and our hotel was in Sherrall. They had just built a new hotel over there in Sherrall, so that's where we were. So it's real cool out there. Real cool. Yeah. But yeah, my name Kwame. So if you call me Kwame, that's because you probably known me my whole life if you called me Kwame. So that's my nickname, but it's a name that I do use. So people can call me Kwame and people do call me Kwame. So that is like, you know, my African name. So I use both Joseph and both Kwame because I like both of them. My brother don't like his African name. He never liked it. So, you know, that's what, but I do like mine. So it says power in this sense comes from authority. Once they had the authority to do so, they captured lands and took land. It's not by coincidence that you have Wales, New Wales, right. New Wales, Southwest England, New England, all those things. Right. Yep. Mark Biddle. Yep. That low country area. Look, it's real cool out there. I'm going back. Next June, I will be back in Blenheim and Bennettsville and Sherrall area. I will be back. But check this out. So this is a clip from Roots. This is the scene where Kunta Kinte was transformed or downgraded into Toby. And it's a psychological exercise that's going on with here with the slave masters. So check it out.
James, your name is Toby. I want to hear you say it. Your name is Toby. You're going to learn to say your name. Let me hear you say it. What's your name?
Kunta Kinte.
When the master gives you something, you take it. He gave you a name. It's a nice name. It's Toby. And it's going to be yours till the day you die. Now, I know you understand me, and I want to hear it. Again! What's your name?
Toby.
Hi. Say it again. Say it louder so they all can hear you. What's your name?
Toby. My name is Toby.
Hi. That's a good nigger. Cut him down.
So you can see psychologically broke him. They were physically punishing to him to psychologically break him to change his name. And you heard what the white guy said. When your master gives you something, he gives you something good. So you're supposed to take it and you're supposed to like it and you love it. They beat that nigga mindset into us. They beat the docility into this. That was the whole point of changing the names, to change that nature, to water down that nature, to try to water down that warrior spirit that our ancestors had, right? Can't have them all fighting back and feeling good about themselves. Can't have them knowing who they are. So we got to be able to cut something off. So to change these names, if we could change the names, then that's a part of us being able to change that, change the narrative for them, take more of their power away from them. So names hold power, right? Across history, especially in African and indigenous and diasporic contexts, right? The act of naming has been directly tied to identity, culture, ownership, and liberation. When the people lose the ability to name themselves or their land, they often lose control over their story, their destiny, and the memory of who they are, right? Remember, they lose control over their story, their destiny, and the memory of who they are. Somebody else controls those things now. You are what I say you are. You're no longer a human being. You are a thing now. Going back to chattel slavery, being able to own somebody. I own your mind. I own your soul. I own your body. I own your spirit. I own your name. They took the key was to strip everything from you that made you who you are, including your name. And I'm going to remake you. Basically, I'm going to remake you in my image. I'm going to remake you in the image of the colonizers. They're going to remake you in the image of the slave masters. You should not know about your ancestors. You should not know that you have the power to fight back. You should not know that you are a human being. You should not know that not only are you equal to me, but if you put the two groups of people on equal ground, the African or the Black American would dominate. But you can't know that though, because if you knew that, then you would do better, you would do different, you would fight back. And what they can't have is Black folk having some damn self-esteem and fighting back, right? A name tells you who you are, where you come from, and what lineage you belong to, right? When African people were enslaved, one of the first acts of domination was the forced removal of names. Slave owners renamed Africans to sever them from their culture, their families, and their destinies. Psychologically, naming oneself is the first step in reclaiming one's humanity. A people who cannot define themselves will be defined by others. A people who cannot define themselves will be defined by others.